the question, what does it mean to say that there is a human right? What is a human right? Well, if there are such things as human rights, if there are such realities, then a human right is a right you have simply in virtue of your humanity. It's a right that's not a privilege bestowed upon you by a king or a president or a parliament or a Congress or a court, God help us. It's none of those things. It's something we possess just in virtue of our humanity. Now, rights, of course, are not material realities, right? They're not like microphones and papers and table surfaces. They're not material realities. They're immaterial realities. They're principles. Now, that doesn't mean they're not true. That doesn't even mean they're not objective. But it means that we can't just look out into the world and see them. They can't be empirically verified. Philosophical arguments need to be made to reach them. Philosophical reasoning has to be engaged in order to reach the conclusion, a valid conclusion, that there are such things as human rights, much less what human rights there actually are. But again, if human rights exist, they are rights we possess simply in virtue of our humanity, which means you don't need to achieve them. You don't need to be really pretty or really smart or really strong or any of those things. The weakest, most vulnerable, the outcast, the dilapidated person, the homeless man, drug-addicted man under the bridge, they all have and have equally human rights. Now, if there is such a thing as rights we have simply in virtue of our humanity, it must be because there's something very special about our humanity. It's that very special thing, that very specialness that we refer to when we refer to, using a fairly modern term, human dignity. Human beings have a certain dignity, sometimes translated as worth or value, fundamental, intrinsic value. In other words, human beings are not just means to other ends, cogs in the wheel of, say, a collective, the state or the fatherland or the Fuhrer or what have you. No, human beings are ends to which other things and entire institutions, legal systems, political systems, educational systems are means. The human being, the human person, is what is fundamental, and it's the interest of the human person, the welfare, the flourishing of the human person that we're concerned about when we identify the rights of the human person. Now, on the account that I think is soundest of human rights and of human dignity, human rights are not where we begin and reason from. They are rather things that principles that we reason to, principles to which we reason. Beneath the concept of human rights is the concept of human good, human well-being, human flourishing. We believe people have rights because they have dignity, which means that their good, their welfare, their flourishing matters. They're not just instruments for other ends. This is where forms of socialism and fascism go so badly wrong. They treat the collective as the end to which people, persons, human beings are means. That's exactly backwards. That's the problem with Soviet or communist or Chinese communism. That's the problem with Hitler's Nazism. The human, the person, is devalued, relegated to the status of a mere instrument, an object, objectified, to be used, as opposed to being an end. But if we think of the human being as an end, then it's the flourishing of the human being that we're fundamentally concerned about. And among those concerns is a concern with justice, fairness among human beings. Part of the good, an aspect of the diverse, variegated, complex good of human beings is the good of living in justice and harmony, right relation with others. And a properly ordered state is concerned with justice, doing justice and preserving justice and advancing justice. The same is true, though, for private associations, for religions, and for us as individuals. Sometimes the precise object of our action is to bring about justice or greater justice or to rectify an injustice, because justice is an aspect of the flourishing of human beings. But justice is also concerned with the overall flourishing of human beings. So rights, considered as principles of justice, will be specified by reference to the human good. The greatest of the 20th century liberals